So if they symbolize a certain concept, then they will carry the energy of that concept. So when you put your hands in, or your energy in, it makes a magnetic connection. These different energy fields, called bones when we've decoded them into holograms, connect into your energy field and sync with the magnetic patterns that you've got, and they fit in where their magnetic patterns fit into you. And so where the bones land and how they appear on the floor is decided before they're thrown. It's decided in the basket by the magnetic connections that have been made. And this is also why you get the same thing with rune stones, because rune stones are just exactly the same knowledge expressed in a slightly different way. This is where tarot cards come from. Why do you pick that card and not that one? Magnetic connection, same thing. And it's the same knowledge, that same original global knowledge. Also, as these peoples with these advanced knowledge and understandings went into other areas of the world, not just after the cataclysms, but also before it, they were the people that had the knowledge to build these fantastic ancient structures that even today people say we couldn't build that now, or we'd struggle to. How did they do it, these primitive people? Because they were working with this advanced knowledge. But history just shuts this stuff out because it doesn't fit the song sheet. In Peru, you've got, this is just one example, these stones are hundreds of tons. You couldn't get a cigarette paper between them, they're so brilliantly put together. These are the Nazca lines in Peru, in the Nazca Plains, and these depictions of animals and insects and birds that are created by scoring the top surface of the land away, they can only be seen in their entirety, some of them, at 2,000 to 3,000 feet, or in plains of considerable height, because they're so vast. Primitive people did that? No. Great knowledge did that. And this is a very significant area of the world in terms of the recovery from the cataclysmic events and the resettlement of these peoples from this global society. People in conventional history, they call, for instance, Sumer, Mesopotamia, what we now call Iraq, the cradle of civilization. No. It wasn't the start of civilization. It was one of the major points of recreation of a civilization after the cataclysmic events had brought an end to the old one. And what we're seeing now and what's happening is this global society is now re-emerging in another way as these formerly isolated societies start to connect together again. In fact, it's been going on, of course, for a very long time. And another connection that you have between these areas and many other areas in the world is of an interbreeding between a non-human race, force, whatever, and humans, creating a hybrid bloodline, a fusion of the two DNA. Even in Genesis, we have one version of this, but you find this all over the world, in every culture. As the Bible says in Genesis, there were giants on the earth in those days, or in the earth as it puts it, and also after that, where the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. These hybrid bloodlines, this interbreeding, produced the kings and queens and the elite royal families of the ancient world, where they claim their right, their genetic right to be the king or the queen or the leader because of their connection to the gods. And all over the world you find this. And what do we have today? We have the queen as head of state of this country purely because of her DNA. She had a different DNA. She might be cleaning the throne, not sitting on it. You know, that's how ludicrous it is. And this is where it comes from. These people claim to be elite and special because of this hybrid bloodline nature connection to the gods. And in Sumer, you find the same. Sumer, which became Babylon, which became Iraq, has ancient texts and tablets which describe the same recurring global story of this interbreeding to create this hybrid race. The hybrid race became known as the demigods, part human, part God, because of this interbreeding connection. And from here, they went out all over the world. So the invasion of Iraq and the occupation of Iraq now is not just about oil. It is about oil on one level, yes. It's about many things. But it's also because that area of land, Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, is considered of great significance to these bloodlines for historical reasons, because that's where a lot of them came out of. So this hybrid bloodline went off across the world, up into northern Europe. It became the power behind the Roman Empire and the creation of the Roman Church, which became, of course, global Christianity. Much more about that as we go along. And everywhere it went, it became the royal bloodline, the elite bloodline, the one that became the leaders and the kings and the queens, and also the people in charge behind the scenes. And it interbred with other such bloodlines in northern Europe to become the royal families and aristocratic families of Europe. Then, because of the European empires, particularly the British, but the French and others too, but particularly the British, we had global Babylon, global Sumer, the global elite bloodline expansion. They went all over the world. They said the sun never set on the British Empire, so vast was it. Into Australia, into Africa, all over the world they went through colonization. And then we had this sleight of hand called independence for the former colonies, but it was only independence on the surface. What these bloodlines did was leave out in those former colonies the bloodline and the secret society network, which I'll come to, which manipulates the bloodline and its gophers and agents into positions of power. And they've gone on controlling those countries ever since. And so today, these hybrid bloodlines are known as the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, and they're the ones that control the transnational corporations, governments, the banking system, the whole shebang that dictates and controls the direction of society. More of that later. And the idea, of course, because compared with the global population, there's very few of these people. The idea is to enslave the rest of humanity in that vibrational prison I've been talking about, so the few can control the vast majority by controlling the frequencies and the nature of the reality we construct. Oh, Queen's lizard. Now, who are they?